One night, Driss was driving Philippe around the streets of Paris when they got stuck in heavy traffic. He ended up blowing past the speed limit and started driving way too fast. The police immediately got on their tail. Driss made a bet that he could get away from them. The flashing lights stayed right behind them as the situation quickly started getting more intense. But under a bridge, police cruisers boxed their car in from both sides. Even then, he didn't seem worried. Smiling confidently, he said the officers would let them go. He acted completely calm, as if he already knew exactly how everything was going to play out. The moment he stepped out of the car, he started putting on an act for the officers. He claimed something had suddenly happened to Philippe and that he needed to get him to the hospital immediately. Since Philippe was already paralyzed, the officers couldn't take any chances. They looked into the car and saw Philippe sitting there. Philippe played along perfectly and started groaning in pain. Seeing that, the officers not only let them go, but even sent a police car to escort them to the hospital. But as soon as the officers were gone, and before they got anywhere near a hospital, they took off and disappeared. The entire chase ended with Driss pulling off exactly the stunt he had planned from the beginning. To celebrate winning the bet, Driss cranked up the music and took a few drags from a cigarette. The friendship between these two had actually started a few months earlier. Philippe and his assistant were interviewing candidates for a new caregiver position, but nobody had impressed them so far. What seemed like an ordinary interview day was about to take a completely unexpected turn. That's when Driss showed up. He wasn't concerned about the interview at all. He only needed a signature on some paperwork proving he had applied for a job and been rejected so he could continue receiving unemployment benefits. He was rough around the edges, and the moment he walked in, he started casually flirting without any hesitation. His confidence stood out immediately, making him impossible for anyone in the room to ignore. Philippe found his attitude surprisingly interesting. He asked Driss to come back the next day. Later, Driss returned to his small apartment, where his younger brothers and sisters were driving him crazy. Then he spotted his brother getting out of a black car through the window. When he came inside, his brother claimed he had just gotten back from school, but shortly afterward, he headed right back outside. That only made Driss even more suspicious. The more he watched, the more it felt like his brother was hiding something from him. That evening, when their mother came home, she saw a gold necklace he had brought as a gift and claimed he had gotten it from a thrift store. But she immediately started yelling at him because he had been gone for the last 6 months. She threw him out of the house, saying it wasn't a hotel where people could come and go whenever they wanted. The argument left the entire atmosphere tense, with nobody willing to say much afterward. The next morning, when Driss arrived at Philippe's mansion, the housekeeper showed him around and explained all of Philippe's daily routines. Then she showed him his room and bathroom, leaving him completely stunned by how luxurious everything was. Every corner of the house made it clear that this was a world completely different from his own. Soon after, Philippe handed him the paperwork and offered him a 1-month trial position. Driss accepted, but Philippe's assistant bet that he wouldn't last even 2 weeks. After settling into his room, Driss began learning everything required to take care of Philippe. From helping him bathe to changing his clothes, every responsibility would fall on him. He would even have to help him after using the bathroom. Driss complained constantly, but in the end, he accepted the job. That night during dinner, he met Philippe's daughter Elisa and her boyfriend, who were looking for a private place to spend time together. Driss immediately kicked them both out. Without realizing it, he had already started treating the house as if he belonged there. It had been a long time since Philippe had been out on the streets of Paris at night. He told Driss that sometimes the right atmosphere can ease pain better than medication ever can. When the discomfort started coming back, Driss offered him some marijuana. The night air felt different now, and for the first time in a while, Philippe seemed genuinely relaxed. At first, Philippe hesitated, but after trying it, he felt much lighter. After that, the two of them went to a restaurant and enjoyed a great meal together. Feeling emotional, Philippe opened up and told Driss the story of his life. As the conversation continued, years of memories slowly began spilling out, one detail at a time. He explained that he and his wife had been in love since their school days. After they got married, they suffered through 5 miscarriages. Eventually, they decided to adopt Elisa. Philippe had always loved extreme adventure sports, but one day, a paragliding accident changed everything and left him in his current condition. In the same accident, he also lost his wife. Then Philippe realized that Driss had officially completed his first month on the job, which meant his position was now permanent. But before anything else, he would have to return the gold necklace that Driss's aunt and her husband had given him as a gift. What started as a temporary arrangement had quietly turned into a friendship neither of them expected. The next day, Driss met with his sister Mina and asked her to help him find Adama. During their conversation, he learned that police had been showing up at their apartment for quite some time. He immediately realized Adama had gotten himself into trouble and rushed to find him. The constant police visits were enough to tell Driss that something serious was going on. As it turned out, Adama had been caught with 30 grams of drugs. Driss wanted to take him home, but Adama climbed right back into the same black car. Frustrated and disappointed, Driss left. Later, he sat with Philippe and helped him write another letter to Eleanor. He was shocked to learn that the two had never even seen each other's photographs. For people who talk so much, it seemed unbelievable that they still remained complete strangers in some ways. Driss pulled Eleanor's phone number from one of the letters and connected her directly with Philippe. After that, they spent hours talking on the phone every day. Eventually, Finally, Philippe selected a photograph of himself and sent it to her. Later, while Driss was painting, Elisa came in asking for a cigarette and started making fun of his artwork. Annoyed, he threw her out of the room. Meanwhile, Philippe secretly replaced the photo and sent one that had been taken before he became paralyzed. Deep down, he worried that the wheelchair might change the way she saw him forever. Philippe was afraid that once Eleanor saw the wheelchair, she might stop talking to him. Around that time, Driss arrived to paint, and Philippe was surprised to discover that he could actually paint. As the days passed, their friendship continued growing stronger. What began as a job had slowly turned into a bond built on trust and understanding. Driss took Philippe out for games, and the two of them also enjoyed their morning walks together. After finishing his first painting, Driss showed it to Magali, who seemed slightly impressed, but when he leaned in to kiss her, she slapped him hard across the face. Philippe, however, loved the painting and promised he would sell it. For the first time, Driss started seeing value in a talent he had never taken seriously before. When Philippe's birthday arrived, he wasn't excited about it. Every year, relatives showed up mostly to see whether he was still alive. At the birthday party, everyone sat around enjoying boring classical music. During the celebration, Philippe noticed Elisa staying in her room. When he asked about it, she revealed that her boyfriend had broken up with her. Hearing that upset Philippe, who reminded her that she wasn't a little girl anymore. Later, Philippe arranged for one of his relatives to buy Driss's painting for 11,000 euros. The painting suddenly became proof that Driss was capable of much more than anyone expected. During dinner, Yvonne told Driss that Magali had a boyfriend. Later, Philippe asked Driss to listen to an old classical music performance with him. Instead of enjoying it, Driss burst out laughing. His reaction completely changed the mood and caught everyone in the room off guard. He started playing his favorite party music and began dancing. Before long, everyone else joined in. That night, he read Philippe a letter from Eleanor. In it, she said she would be visiting Paris the following week, and she had also included a photograph of herself. The upcoming meeting suddenly made everything feel real for the first time. On the day of the date, Driss and Yvonne helped Philippe try on several suits before finally choosing one they liked. While Philippe was getting ready, Driss went to confront Elisa's boyfriend. Once the guy apologized, Driss finally let him go. Meanwhile, Philippe and Yvonne waited for Eleanor at the restaurant. After an hour passed and she still hadn't arrived, Philippe called Driss and asked him to take him home. Ironically, as Philippe was leaving the restaurant, Eleanor was walking in, but neither of them saw each other. Later, Driss took Philippe for a ride on his private plane and gave him the money from the painting sale, making him extremely happy. A meeting years in the making slipped away because of a single missed moment. But then, Driss was introduced to Magali's boyfriend, who turned out to be a woman. The truth was, Magali was never interested in men in the first place. The next day, Philippe met his new caregiver, but the man was incredibly boring and dull. The difference between a caretaker and a true friend suddenly became impossible for Philippe to ignore. Without saying much, Philippe quietly left without even eating.